I only hope that we don't lose sight of one thing, that it all started with a mouse, Walt Disney. Hello everyone, thanks for listening to Disconnected, an unofficial Disney podcast of magical proportions. I'm Whit Laxon, your Disney enthusiast host, and coming up...
Most successful people, they get one thing right, and that's it. Disney was a guy who got a whole lot of things right.
It's the new PBS documentary on the man behind the mouse. I'll share my thoughts on Walt Disney American Experience. But first, it's the House of Mouse news you need to know in this week's Disney Download.
Everybody, can I have your attention? I have some really great news. ABC wants to put on an all-new primetime series starring the Muppets.
Well over 8 million viewers tuned in to watch the premiere of ABC's The Muppets Tuesday night, as the iconic Jim Henson characters finally returned to primetime television. The mockumentary-styled series puts the personal lives of our favorite puppets on display, and centers around the production of a new late-night talk show that's hosted by Miss Piggy and executive produced by Miss Piggy's recent ex, Kermit. With the target demographic for this latest Muppet revival being an adult audience, the longtime family-friendly franchise does take a different approach in presenting more mature humor and innuendos throughout the half hour of comedy. Now, I'm very curious to see if this new show will re-energize public interest in the Muppets, because I do think its adult content might be a bit off-putting for some. I know I found the premiere to be quite funny, and I especially laughed during a second viewing. I think the mockumentary workplace comedy vibe really helps to make the show feel current, and I also think the adult humor approach to these characters works really well, considering that the generation who grew up during the Muppets' heyday is now grown up. Plus, today's kids don't seem to have as great of an appreciation for the Muppets, just because it's not exactly a franchise like, say, Sesame Street that's continued to live on for that specific audience. However, it has lived on for its original audience, who I hope will keep watching this show and make it a success. The Muppets airs Tuesdays at 8/7 Central on ABC.
In every job that must be done, there is an element of fun.
In movie news this week, we Disney fans can't stop talking about the latest rumored remake/reboot of yet another Disney classic. It has been reported that a new Mary Poppins film is being developed by Disney and Into the Woods director Rob Marshall. The unconfirmed movie is said to take place 20 years after the original 1964 Mary Poppins feature starring Best Actress Oscar winner Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. As with that award-winning film, this new musical project will be based on storylines from the popular series of children's books of the same name by author P.L. Travers. No info on casting has been mentioned, but as many have pointed out online, landing the lead role would be a full-circle moment for Anne Hathaway. Okay, well, since Mary Poppins is really considered to be the pinnacle of Walt Disney's films, I would think that it might be one of those that's best to leave untouched. But I guess at this point, with all of these other Disney remakes in the pipeline, I won't be surprised if Mary Poppins gets remade too. I do hope this version will be presented more as a reboot than a remake or even a sequel though, because the original simply bears no comparison. In other Disney movie remake news, the first official teaser trailer for Disney's upcoming live-action remake of The Jungle Book has arrived, and it is epic. Director Jon Favreau appeared on Access Hollywood Live to premiere the film's trailer just before it dropped online and trended across social media. Coming in under 2 minutes long, the teaser sets up an idea of how this live-action version of The Jungle Book will look and feel when it hits theaters in April of 2016. Real-life and realistic versions of the well-known animated characters from Disney's original feature are shown throughout the trailer, including Mowgli, Baloo, King Louie, Bagheera, and Shere Khan. Actress Scarlett Johansson, who provides the voice of Kaa the Snake, is heard speaking as a narrator in the teaser before her character is finally shown saying the iconic line of "Trust in me."
Trust in me.
And though none of the other characters are shown speaking, it would seem towards the end of the trailer that Baloo the bear might be whistling to the tune of the Bare Necessities. So after the D23 Expo in August, there was definitely some buzz about the Jungle Book, but this trailer, it took me by surprise because I really didn't know what to expect, but it was so epic and intense and beautiful, and I am now so excited to see this movie next spring. And I haven't really been fully on board for the whole live-action Disney remake trend up to this point, but with the Jungle Book trailer and with the Cinderella remake from earlier this year, I'm starting to like what I'm seeing. Moving on to this week's Disney Parks news.
Thank you, Max, for that marvelous introduction.
The Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus have made their highly anticipated Magic Kingdom debut in the Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party Castle show, Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular. Witches Winifred, Mary, and Sarah Sanderson appear in the special nighttime season event, along with many other Disney villains including Dr. Facilier, Oogie Boogie, and Maleficent. Throughout the 20-minute performance, the Sanderson trio engages with their Magic Kingdom audience and makes numerous references to their 1993 Halloween movie favorite. And of course, the song I Put a Spell on You from the film is the show's finale musical number. Oh my goodness, this is so much fun and nostalgic. I've only watched YouTube videos, but I love the show, and I'm loving that the Sanderson sisters are at a Disney park. Which, by the way, the streets have been talking, and rumor has it that this show is serving as a test of sorts to find out how interested people might be in a Hocus Pocus sequel. We know the cast of the original film is interested, and come on, we know the public is interested too. And with all that being said, Disney download complete.
Most successful people, they get one thing right, and that's it. Disney was a guy who got a whole lot of things right.
Well, earlier this month, over the course of 2 nights, PBS premiered its 4-hour American Experience documentary on the life of Walt Disney. For this project, the Walt Disney Company opened up its vaults and gave PBS filmmakers rare access to Disney archives. Still, it's important to note that no involvement from the Walt Disney Company took place for this production, allowing PBS to present an objective look at the professional and personal life of the man behind the mouse. And by effectively combining a substantial amount of archival footage with narration and expert commentary, that's exactly what Walt Disney American Experience does.
It's a perfect metaphor, him being this small mouse in this big industry that he wants to break into.
Disney always talked about Mickey Mouse as being his alter ego.
Hey, Poodle! There she comes!
The 2-part documentary first follows Walt's beginnings from his childhood to his Laugh-O-Gram studio days, showing the development of his early work in animation with characters like Oswald the Lucky Rabbit and Mickey Mouse.
The story of Snow White. This was obsession.
What he was after was something different.
Can you make people cry?
He didn't know if it would really work.
Some of the strongest moments featured early on are in the coverage of time preceding and following Disney's ambitious production of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. The documentary goes on to tell more about Walt's hits and misses in the movie business before focusing on his work in television and eventually his creative theme park endeavors.
He's always the person looking for new technology to make animation better.
It was beginning to feel like corporate America.
It was the studio. It was his own creation that went against him.
Of course, as an objective biography, the project does not sugarcoat any of the controversies surrounding Walt Disney, which paints a different picture of the Uncle Walt persona that's known and loved by the general public.
And he pounded the table and he said, "We're not making cartoons here. We're making art."
He could come down on you like a ton of bricks.
By having prior knowledge of the not-so-pleasant side of Walt's personality, I was not surprised by that aspect of the documentary. In fact, I think the non-biased approach is really what makes this particular documentary special, along with the incredible behind-the-scenes footage of Walt Disney at work and at play.
Myth lives in all of us, and Disney provides the passage.
I thoroughly enjoyed this American Experience presentation, and my only complaint is that some of Walt Disney's later films, like Peter Pan and Lady and the Tramp, were overlooked, but I do understand why, because those productions were more or less overshadowed at the time by Walt's focus on creating Disneyland. Overall, it's a great piece of work from PBS, and it's a must-see for Disney enthusiasts. If you missed the premiere, the documentary is available for a limited time on pbs.org. As for me, I'll be keeping it on my DVR for a few more viewings. Alright, and to wrap things up today, it's time once again for a segment of Top 5 Favorites, in which I'll be revealing some of my top 5 Disney favorites. With this being the fall premiere of Disconnected, instead of doing a random top 5, I want to take a look back at the summer that was and talk about my top 5 favorite Disney happenings in summer 2015. At number 5, it's the Disney Channel original movie Descendants, which I'm putting at the bottom of this countdown because I did not enjoy this movie, at all. Number 4 is Marvel's The Avengers Age of Ultron. Even though I've lost a bit of interest in these Marvel releases, Age of Ultron was a fun start to the summer movie season, and I really liked the addition of Elizabeth Olsen to the cast. Coming in at number 3 is Disney Pixar's Inside Out. I love this new Pixar movie, and I especially love the character of Sadness. At number 2 is the Diamond Celebration that kicked off this summer for the 60th anniversary of Disneyland. I love me some Paint the Night, and I also really enjoyed the 60th anniversary ceremony that took place on July 17th with Richard Sherman and Ashley Brown performing Walt Disney's favorite song, Feed the Birds. And my number 1 favorite Disney happening in summer 2015 is the D23 Expo. Star Wars Land, Toy Story Land, Moana, I could go on and on with all of the awesome announcements and presentations, but for me, the highlight seen via the internet was the Powerline concert at the Goofy Movie 20th Anniversary panel. I might have cried. Well, thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Disconnected. Of course, you can check out this podcast on SoundCloud and on my Wit from Wit YouTube channel. Be sure to follow at Disney_connected on Instagram for more Disconnected content. You can also follow me at Wit from Wit on Instagram, as well as Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Snapchat, and Periscope. That's Wit, W-I-T, as in haha funny, from F-R-O-M, Wit, W-H-I-T-T, as in me. Until next time, have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon, folks.